800-240-4587. 800-240-4587. 800-240-4587. That's 800-240-4587.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
Serving Johnson County, Texas. Joco Community Radio.
Home, a place where I can go to take this off my shoulders. Someone take me home. Home, a place where I can go to take this off my shoulders. Someone take me home. Lord, I didn't power through the struggle just to let a little trouble knock me out of my position and interrupt the vision after everything I witnessed.
All right. Whew. I am back. How's everybody doing? It is real estate reality time. Yay. I am a little excited this morning. I had some great people on with me earlier today, and I absolutely love that. If you got to listen to Positivity Toolbox this morning, it was really a great show. If you didn't get to listen to it, make sure to go back and watch that. You can go back on YouTube and watch it, or even on Facebook on our Joco Community Radio page. So make sure to go to that and watch that for me, because again, it was great. I had Alyssa Mott on. She's very inspirational woman. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So yes, you definitely should go back and listen to that. Now, let's talk about some real estate. Okay. So I guess what I really want to start with is talking about how the real estate market is looking. It is definitely shifting and changing. It's changing all the time, to be honest. It's never a bad time to sell or buy a house, typically. I say that because, every situation is different. Every house is different. I have some amazing listings up there. If you're looking in the Terrell area, I know we're in Johnson County, but those of you that are listening, but some of you might be out in that area listening too. And I really think that if you are in that area, you should definitely check out the 2 houses that I have out there right now in Terrell. They are absolutely beautiful, and I can definitely upload that, or have Tiffany upload that for me here in a little bit. But I would love for you guys to check that out. I'm always posting. So if you're not on my Facebook page, I am Diana Roberts /Realtor, and definitely go on my Facebook page, because I'm constantly posting about new listings or other things that are definitely coming up as well in the market, or anything along those lines too. Oh, sorry. What? Okay. Sorry, Tiffany is messaging me. Okay. Anyway, Tiffany, I love you. She can be a distraction sometimes. And when I'm on the air, I want to make sure everybody can hear me and everything's going good. So I definitely want to check her messages. So anyway, basically what's going on in Burleson right now, let's just go over what's going on in Burleson. Okay. Burleson, we're at a 43, right? It's a slight seller's advantage right now. It is a little bit more in the seller's market is what it's showing. It's getting closer to that, right? So this is not a bad time to sell based off of the market report here in Burleson. And this has been updated since September 11th. So this is recent. This was just put out there on this market report that I'm covering with you guys. The median list price is at $420 here in Burleson, and the median price of new listings is $330. It's basically going for $184 per square foot. We are like 64 average days on the market. Median is going to be 35. We have had a price decrease at 47% here recently, and the price has increased at 5%. Relisted at 7%, which is fine. I mean, a lot of that is going to be your properties, right, that are a little bit higher up in the higher end, right? And then the inventory is at 227. The median rent right now is at $2,185. And the market action, again, like I said earlier, is at 43. So it is a slight seller's seller's advantage. If I could speak this morning, I did have coffee. All right. So we're looking at like 4-bedroom, 3-bath. You're looking at anywhere from 1 to 2.5 acres at 3,187 square foot. Those properties are typically selling around 675, 974. I'm sorry if I say my numbers wrong. Everybody gives me a hard time for that, but that's how I say it. So forgive me. Days on the market for those properties are usually around 63 days or more. So just be aware of that. Where in Fort Worth, it's slightly different. We're way more at a seller's market in Fort Worth. It's at 48 right now. It's strong seller's market in Fort Worth. And the median list price is going to be 340. And that's 340,000. I'll go ahead and say it. Median price of new listings is 3,600. Again, I say my number's weird. I'm sorry. I think it's the German in me, I guess. And because they say their numbers backwards, especially the bigger the numbers, they're backwards. So per square foot is looking at 185 per square foot. And the market action is again at 48, which is great. So the price decreased at 51%, price increased at 3%, and relisted we're at 6%, right? Our inventory in Fort Worth is 1,692, which is crazy, right? That's great. I think that's probably why we're more at a stronger seller's market in Fort Worth. So if you're in the Fort Worth area, this is a good time for you right now. It looks like median rent is at $2,195. And so, oh, hello.
Hi.
Jason's here. Yay. I'm so glad you can make it. Yeah, I'm going to turn you on. Okay. How's it going?
I
was
text. I was like, hey.
Yes,
She's
thank
like,
you.
Can you join Diana? I was like, sure. I'm just down the road, thankfully.
Yes, I was glad you were down. I saw you drive by too. I was like, I thought you were going to be on with me this morning. I'm sorry. Maybe I messed up our dates.
Yeah, no,
I might have.
about it. That's cool though.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're here.
I was at HTO. I was about to get my gallon of free tea for my birthday.
Oh, it's your birthday?
No, yesterday was.
Oh, well, happy belated birthday.
Thank you. 29.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
That's great.
What are you talking about?
So I was talking about what's going on in the market right now, how things have shifted. Actually, it is, right now in Fort Worth, I don't know if you knew this, but it is at a 48 for it's a strong seller's market right now. We're at 48.
So it's an interesting situation, right? I kind of overheard you talking about the rent rates. So
Yes.
I actually did a study last week and I put it out on Monday and I just did a question mark. I said, what do you think that the median price was for a 3-bedroom house in Johnson County?
Yeah.
And we had answers all over the place, right?
Right.
Because
sure.
in 2020, in August of 2020, the median or average was $215,000 for a 3-bedroom house.
It was.
Last month, it was $327,000.
And it's
a 65% increase.
Yeah.
In the price of a median price of a 3-bedroom home.
Isn't that crazy?
What's scary about it, Diana, you were talking about rent rates. So rent rates are $2,200.
Yeah.
So
we're looking at $2,185 just here in Burleson.
So for the first time in a really long time, you can't go buy a 3-bedroom house and rent it. You're going to pay more for that house than you would if you just rented.
Yeah.
So I asked the question to a lot of people, and I don't know what your response is going to be to this, but I hear people saying, well, we're just going to rent for a while until things get better. And I think
if it's going to get better?
Well, that's the problem. We know what the answer is. The answer is it's not.
Right.
Okay. It might drop. If we look at 2008 and what happened with the crash in 2008.
Yeah.
Then you can have some sort of a variance to say, okay, do we think it's going to be that bad? Well, they put the Dodd-Frank Act in place so that would eliminate the problems that came from that.
Right.
So the foreclosures, we'll see them. They're coming.
They are.
But I don't think they're going to come in the rate that they did the last time. And will prices drop? Yeah, they're coming. But if we look at what happened in 2008 to 2012, what you're going to see is there was about a 3% drop in price. So in the course of 4 years, 3% before it came back across it.
Right.
So you're going to wait on 3% for 4 years. How much of your equity could be gained during that 4 years if you went ahead and bought? And are you going to be where you want to be?
Yeah.
Are you going to live where you want to live? How much is that worth to you? People go out and buy these lifted trucks or a luxury vehicle, and they'll spend the $2,200 on their rent. Well, that vehicle is going to last 5 years.
Yep.
And then it's not going to be worth a darn thing anymore. But that house, that's a lifetime investment.
It is.
In your comfort, in the way that you live, where you live, how you feel about going home, the peace that you carry. And those are monetary things you can't hold on to.
Exactly.
So for people, I'm a big proponent of people who say date the rate and marry the house. I honestly, I love all of you that say that, but you are so flipping wrong to say it that I cannot express to you how horrible of a thing it is to say to a human being that you can date a rate of a home. And I know I've talked about this.
Yes, I love this. I really wanted to hear this from you too. So I'm so glad you did come
So,
to talk to me.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you're in a position right now and you've heard that from one of your friends, you need to be very afraid of what they're going to do to you. And I really do mean this. What are they going to do to you? Because they are not trying to help you invest in a home, and they aren't trying to make sure that your fiduciary is taken care of.
Right.
They're trying to either, one, convince you to buy, which is a salesperson. And if you want to hire a salesperson to sell you something, you need to think about what you're doing.
Yeah.
The second reason is going to be because you are too scared to sit out and go ahead and go forward. Now, that's a good thing if they're trying to help you get past your fear, because we shouldn't buy or sell or not sell based on fear.
Absolutely not.
But there's a better way to go about this.
Yes.
And so what I would encourage, if there's any realtors out there listening, or if you're a friend of a realtor, you can tell them that Jason did this and they can call and curse me out or whatever later. But really what this comes down to is
Hopefully
a
they don't.
fiduciary duty to your client to say this. Guys, I have no idea if the rates will ever come down again. Your rate will stay the same until you are able to refinance. Now, refinancing costs money.
It does.
So you're going to actually lose money to refinance.
Yep.
But it'll be worth it if it's above 1.2%, 1.25% lower than what you're paying now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that could be 3 years down the road. That could be 9 years down the road. And in that time frame, you're going to have to pay what you're paying plus all the property taxes, insurances, and everything else.
Yes.
So when we're going to somebody, say, don't be afraid to purchase. You can afford this as it stands. Just understand you might be paying it for the next 5 years. You may be paying it for the next 10. You may be paying more than that for the next 10.
That's true.
You may never have another interest rate that goes lower than this.
Yeah.
But the chances of it staying the same are pretty low.
Right.
We think that it's most likely, I would say 2025. The long-term interest rates have just have kind of stabilized to where they're going up. When we see that, we know that means that short-term, which, believe it or not, when we're looking at 15 and 20 and 30-year loans, those are more short-term.
Yes.
So when we see that, we know that means that those interest rates are going to stay high for a while.
Right.
So I would say that you're not really going to see lower interest rates this year or even next year, guys. It's probably going to be 2025.
Yeah.
So should you wait? Oh, I got to wait until 2025. Well, while you're waiting, everything's changing.
Yes.
And that house or neighborhood that you want to live in may never have another opportunity like that one.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know how you feel about this. So I'm curious to know what you.
I 100% agree with you,
Yeah.
honestly.
So what do you do when you have a client that is asking you these questions like, look, well, what about the interest rates? They're so high right now. I'm afraid to buy. We want to buy a house and we can afford this payment.
Yeah.
But it's really going to stretch us. What do you say to people like that?
It's going to stretch you for temporarily, right? Because you're going to have like you said, you can't build equity in a vehicle. You can't. You can purchase a vehicle, but every time that you get on the road and drive it and you're creating more miles on that car, you're losing money because you're not going to be able to sell it for what you bought it for, right?
Mhm.
But when it comes to a property, I mean, let's look at the prices that have been going up, right? They've gone up, not down, right? On properties. So you're going to be able to, like you said, in 4 to 5 years, be able to build more coming back if you do decide to sell it. And you're going to be able to have more, you're getting more for your money. If you ask me, right? You're getting more for your buck
Sure.
because now you own something, it is yours, and you're able to sell it at any point in time and build and bring some of that back or get something more or say you need something less. Who knows what your family status is, right?
Mhm.
It depends on family status too. Like, are you going to be needing a family? Are you going to be needing a bigger house with more rooms at some point? You know, you got to think about those kinds of things. I think when you're purchasing, especially your first home, right? So if you just got married, you don't have a family quite yet, but that is going to be your starter home. It's good to have a starter home. It gets you set up and ready. And then when you sell that one, you can use that to purchase your new home.
Okay, so I have a question for you.
Okay.
Have you ever asked somebody this? Because they'll all say, "Well, I can rent, for this amount, and I can wait, and just we'll just rent for a year, and it's going to be a year."
Right.
So, what I like to do, and I don't know if you've ever done this, so I'm curious.
Okay. I'm ready.
Have you ever said to somebody, "Okay, you're making a decision on whether you want to buy or you want to rent"?
Yeah.
And right now, if you rent, it's going to be cheaper, and if you buy, it's going to be more expensive.
Yes.
And the market is crashing. There's not if a real estate agent isn't looking you in the eye and telling you it's the worst time that they've seen since 2008, they're not saying that, then they're not telling you the truth. They may not be lying to you, but they're not telling you the truth. This is the worst we've seen since 2008 by all margins. Okay.
Yes.
Do you think anybody who bought a house in 2009 is regretting it in 2023?
No.
Do you think all those people are laughing their tail ends off?
Probably.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
Because even though it was a really bad time to buy, and it was,
Yeah.
there's no doubt about it. People who bought during that time, everybody's like, "Oh, this guy's nuts. What are you doing buying a house like that?"
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I can't. Southern Oaks. I just did a video. Did you see that video?
I have not.
Okay, so I did a video and I put it out on Friday. But it's about Southern Oaks. I love Southern Oaks. It's over here in the north side of Burleson, south side of Tarrant County.
Yeah.
By a golf course. When 2008 hit, we went looking. My father was thinking about getting a second home, and he wanted something that would, he could go to the golf course or whatever. So we were looking at houses. Well, they had a whole bunch of foreclosures over there. And those foreclosures were selling for $340,000, $330,000. Okay.
Right.
That was in Southern Oaks.
Yeah.
By a golf course. They had pools, 3,500 square foot houses,
Mhm.
$325,000, $330,000, $340,000.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not that. Yeah.
Those houses are selling for $850,000, $900,000, $1 million right now.
Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
So I guess my point to this is you can look at your rents and say, "Oh, well, that's $2,200. That's a lot." It is.
Yeah.
It's outrageous.
It is.
But if you think that it's going to stay there, given the prices of homes right now,
It's not.
no, give it 3 years.
Yeah.
That same house at $2,200 is going to be $3,000 a month, guaranteed.
Right. And I mean, and the increase in rent already is out of control.
Yes.
I mean, I remember when you could get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath for $1,600 a month, maybe.
Easy.
All
right?
day. Right. And now it's like over 2,000.
And we're not talking a long time ago. It's talking 2019. You could get a freaking 3-bedroom, 2-bath for $1,600 a month. A nice one, brand new.
And nice. Yeah. And it looked nice. Everything was updated. Everything was very nice. Now an updated one, you're looking at 3,000 or more.
Sure.
For just a 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Yeah.
If it's all updated and it's got even more of a yard than what's some, and maybe you're not as close to your other people.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I want.
Are you communicating to people about where we are? I mean, are you talking to them about how bad it is out there for realtors?
I'm such a positive person.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to put a positive spin on everything. So
do you think that's healthy?
for me, maybe I like to have a positive mindset because I'm manifesting, right?
Sure.
I like to manifest what's going to happen in my
Yeah.
life, and I like to manifest what I want to have, what I'm creating. I'm creating my reality. But I also tell this is the reality though that I give them. I can't predict the future. I can't predict where these interest rates are going to go. I can't predict what the housing market is going to do. I can only go based off of the market reports that I'm looking at. And they are high. Everything right now is high. The economy is struggling.
Sure.
We are struggling as an economy. However, my positive spin on it is everything is temporary.
Sure it is.
Everything is temporary. Things are going to change at some point. When, I don't know.
I think that's the right approach. I think you have to be positive.
Yes.
Because things, look, either if the plane is going down and we're going to crash, right?
Yeah.
You can either be thinking, oh my God, I'm so afraid I'm going to die.
Right.
Or you could be saying, can we figure out anything that we can do to try to survive this thing? And you know what? I'm gonna sit in this. I'm gonna buckle my seatbelt, and because I can't control the airplane.
Nope.
And I'm just gonna pray and think about my kids. And so there's ways to know that things are going poorly,
right,
without having the negative aspect of that. So what I mean when I say, are you talking to people about how hard it is? What I see out there we realtors, we watch everybody.
We do.
We're narcissistic. I mean, just be honest. We're all narcissists. We pay attention to what everybody's doing because we might learn something, right?
Right.
But what I've seen is, for the most part, everybody's just like, it's a great time to buy. I'm so happy that this person bought from me. Oh. And it's like, okay, you haven't had a customer in 6 weeks, and this is the first time you're showing up on social media to say you sold a home, and that's great. I'm so happy for you, but that's not the reality. The reality is, hey, listen, this is a tough time for me as an agent, and I'm working my tail end off, and I got this done because these people wanted to buy, and I can do it for you too.
Yes.
And so I'm not saying everybody has to be the same way. All I'm saying is that there's this thing that we do as real estate agents where we only show the positive. Because that's what social media is, right? It's all about but I think if you show the reality, I think people will see more. It's like,
I think it's just being professional. I think it's just showing up and being professional.
Yeah.
Like you have to give your professional opinion. And our opinion is based off of our research, right?
Yep.
So that's all we can give them.
And
either they want to risk it. I mean, I'm going to say it like this. You got to risk it to get the biscuit, right? Sometimes in life, you have to step up to the plate sometimes and go the extra mile. And one thing about humans is we are survivors. We survive. The economy, the government, I feel, has been trying to put us in a worse situation for some whatever. I don't even know if I should be talking about this on the but I do feel that as long as we continue doing what we're doing, and we continue to survive and continue to grow and continue to do things to help each other out, I feel like we're going to be successful still.
I love that you say that because Gary Smith, who's the roofer that I use, and he has a program. It's the Miracle Mile networking program. But the idea behind it, are you familiar with the Miracle Mile?
I have. I have the book. I have not listened to it yet. There's a book, right?
Oh, I don't know. Do you know the story of the Miracle Mile?
Maybe that's what I'm getting confused with. Maybe not. Go ahead.
Okay, so the story of the Miracle Mile is there's an area of, I believe it's California, during the Depression, when people were on bread lines and starving to death. There was a mile of businesses and people that lived on the same kind of area, and they made a pact to each other that they were going to use each other's businesses and support each other. If someone had a hard time, then they were going to make sure that they were taken care of. So if you had a bread shop, if you had, if you were making pizzas or you were doing whatever you were doing, the people in that neighborhood, of that mile neighborhood, were going to support you and you only.
Love it.
And what happened was during that Depression, not a single business shut down in that mile area. They all stayed open.
Right.
And nobody starved. Everybody ate. Everybody was able to continue because they supported each other.
Yes.
What happens is we get into a mindset, a mind-numbing mindset that we have to have ours, and we're not supporting everybody around us at the same time. So what I would say to that, what you're talking about right there, is exactly the truth of it is we have to support each other.
Absolutely.
To survive.
Yes.
I don't care how great you are at your position, whether you're a real estate agent, plumber, you pick up dirt on the side of I don't care what your business is. If you think you can do it all by yourself,
you can't.
You can't.
No.
You need people.
Yes.
And I think it's important to remind people, hey, listen, I need you. I can't survive. I can't do this real estate. I'm great at my job, but I can't do it if you don't support me.
Right. You have to have support.
Yeah.
And you have to have those that believe in you.
Yeah.
That give you that, that constant, what is it? Affirming that you are going to do great. We're going to do great things. We need to continue to tell ourselves that, but we need to tell each other that too.
Well, big thing is referrals, right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
So,
referrals are huge.
Yeah. And I think people misunderstand that because they look at real estate. Oh, there's a real estate agent on every corner. Well, there are, but there's not a real estate on every corner that can help you.
Right. Exactly.
And so what I would say is, well, I'm not buying. I hear this all the time. I'm not going to sell my house. I don't plan on selling my house. I'm like, that's cool. Do you know anybody that is?
Yeah.
I guarantee you in the next 7 days, whoever you speak to, of the next 7 days, at least one person's going to talk about, man, I really need an AC guy. Man, I really sure need my lawn is just covered up. I don't have time to do it.
Right.
What we do is we internalize everything, right?
Yes.
We don't think about everybody else. We just live on our own world. That's the American thing we have to get past. But if people would spend more time saying, you know what, Don is my friend and he does lawns.
I do it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm always constantly referring people out.
I think people that listen don't think about it as much. As real estate agents, that's really I'd say 30% of everything that I do is referring people to good people.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to take a quick break, really quick, guys, but we will be right back. So stay tuned because we've got a lot more to cover.
I want to talk about prices.
I want to talk about
what
prices.
we can buy with those prices.
All right, let's do it. All right, we'll be right back.
Why have thousands of aspiring authors teamed up with Christian Faith Publishing to publish their book? Because Christian Faith Publishing is an author-friendly publisher who understands that your labor is more than just a book. We provide authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process, professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the publishing industry. And as always, you will retain 100% of the rights to your book.
I was looking to find a company that I could trust, one that assisted in the editing process completely.
The most important qualities that I was looking for was a publisher who was honest and upfront, no hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
Christian Faith Publishing will publish, market, and sell your books in all major bookstores, online booksellers, as well as specialty Christian bookstores. Call for your free author submission kit.
800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. That's 800-978-4812.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
Serving Johnson County, Texas. Joco Community Radio.
Home, a place where I can go to take this off my shoulders. Someone take me home. Home, a place where I can go to take this off my shoulders. Someone take me home. Lord, I didn't power through the struggle just to let a little trouble knock me out of my position.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for staying tuned on Real Estate Reality. Emergencies can happen, and when it comes to your roof, time is of the essence. Whether it's a leak, a storm, or an insurance claim, the High and Tight Roofing team provides top-notch roofing services that guarantee your peace of mind. They understand how important your home is to you, which is why they always go the extra mile to ensure your roofing needs are met with precision and care. Give them a call at 682-444-1399. Again, that's 682-444-1399. Let's do it right. Choose High and Tight for all your roofing needs. Are you in the process of buying or selling a home? Be sure you have all the information you need with a professional home inspection from ZView Inspections. Their team of licensed and certified inspectors provide comprehensive and thorough inspections that leave no stone unturned. We understand that buying or selling a home can be a stressful process, which is why we make it our mission to provide you with the peace of mind you deserve. Don't take any chances when it comes to your home. Trust the experts at ZView Inspections to provide you with the information you need to make an informed decision. Inspect before you invest with ZView Inspections. Contact us today at 682-587-9651. Again, that's 682-587-9651 to schedule your inspection. Evenings and short notice are also available. All right. Those are my amazing sponsors. Thank you for sponsoring my show. I appreciate you guys so much. Y'all are awesome. So make sure to give them a call if you need any roofing or inspections done. All right.
Trust me, you don't want to go with someone you don't know.
That's right.
I'm telling you,
Yes.
if you want to talk about the worst experience you can possibly have, go do Chuck in a Truck roofing, and you will regret your life.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah,
I agree with that.
get a reputable person.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes. I agree.
Well, you better.
I do, and I trust my guys. Like, they're so good. I've had ZView Inspections inspect a lot of my listings, especially those that are they're in the process of closing right now. Soon, yay! I've got some closing.
So I think the big thing that people there's a misnomer out there that really they don't understand. Inspectors are licensed.
Yes,
and so they have to go literally piece by piece through all the caveats.
Right.
But there are certain things that an inspector cannot do that are just as important that they don't do as to what they do ultimately tell you about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's important just to know that having a good inspector, it's absolutely
necessary.
Vital.
It
vital.
is. It is.
You need somebody to tell you if you're about to buy something that you're going to have some problems with.
Oh, yes. Please, because I've had it to where I've had buyers, that have purchased a house, and then of course, right after they buy the house and they're in the house, things start happening.
Sure.
And that comes back to me.
It comes back to you. It comes back to the inspector. It comes back to everybody involved.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And you don't want that. You don't want that. So you do want to make sure that you've got some good inspectors that are going to be looking at the property, making sure that, it's good.
But first, you got to have a property. So I want to ask you.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So I want to go through some price points, some common price points that people buy in.
Okay.
And where this has nothing to do with, where you're going to show them houses, because ultimately we show everywhere.
Right.
But if you were going to buy a house, Diane.
Yes.
In the Metroplex. Okay.
Put this way.
Based on certain price points, and we can kind of go back and forth, see what you think.
Okay.
Okay. So price point is $300,000 to $400,000. It's the most common price point.
Right.
In the Metroplex, based on, because obviously the average price of a home is actually in the 400s.
Yes.
But most people can't afford that high.
Right.
So there are a greater number of houses sold between 300 and 400,000. So my question to you is, give me top 2, top 3 places, neighborhoods where you would go to spend $300,000 and $400,000. Would you go new? Would you go more established neighborhoods? What would you do?
I would, for me, so where one of my properties is actually getting listed and sold right now, it's off of Donna Court in that area, that East Renfro, going that direction,
Yeah.
right?
So that's like out in the county though, right?
Yes,
So you like non,
I like space.
you like a little space.
I like a little
Okay.
space. So, and Burleson is such a great area. It's close to, I'm on the radio, so it's close to here. I live off of Ellsbury right now,
Mhm.
and I love that I'm that close. I'm close to all the things that I love and all the places that I love to go to, like the restaurants. I love all the restaurants here, and
Right.
sometimes I need to branch myself out a little bit
Mhm.
more.
Mhm.
I try to go to Fort Worth a little bit more, in Dallas. It's not my favorite, but I like Dallas too sometimes. But yeah, I love this little town. I do. And I love all the people in it. And I know a lot of the people.
Mhm.
So I think Burleson, but I do like my space. I do like to, have a really big yard and a pool and all that. I love all that. And
Can you get that for 300 to 400,000?
I mean, no. Not what I
So
want.
we're back to the first question.
Yeah,
then,
I
aren't
know.
we?
Yes,
So
yes.
that's the $400,000 to $500,000 range, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, I like Ellsbury. Ellsbury is not a bad street. I'm right off of Ellsbury.
Okay.
So I'm okay with that.
So you're staying in Burleson, Joshua.
Joshua,
Okay.
I like Joshua. Joshua's got some great houses out there, some great areas, like especially like honestly right there on Main, those older homes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, like some of them
The
that are
little
getting
neighborhoods, real cute. Yeah.
so cute, and they've gotten remodeled, renovated homes out there now, and they look adorable. Like I saw one that I think was it Joshua? I want to say this was in Joshua and Main Street. It was the royal blue. The
Mhm.
house was painted the royal blue with white shutters. It was so cute.
I think people misunderstand something when we look at houses as real estate agents. We don't necessarily look at what's the easiest thing to do because we can see past some of the unglorified aspects of a home. But I'll tell you this much: I love for that type what you're talking about. I love the Old Town Burleson area.
Yes.
So if you go even like on the east side of the railroad tracks, there's some homes that kind of run over there by the old Nola Dunn Elementary and up north into that area over there. They're older homes, but non-slab homes, believe it or not, can be really cool to own.
Yes.
And the reason why is because there's not very many things you can't do. If you don't like where the bathroom is on a pier and beam home, you
can
just move it.
Yes.
There's no jackhammering any concrete or anything like that. You go and you put it somewhere else.
Right.
Right. And so there's of course the neighborhoods are really super. They got all the trees, they're mature trees. You're close to everything in Old Town right over there.
Yes, I do like that.
I think foot traffic is becoming more and more popular. If you look at how urban planning is going now in Fort Worth, you'll see that they're doing more planning based on where you can walk to than where you can drive to.
Yeah.
Because in Texas we have so much space. It's like you drive everywhere in Texas.
Yes.
But they're creating these neighborhoods and homes where you can do that. So I would say another place you can get like 300 to 400,000 and have that type of home in older, maybe pier and beam.
Yeah.
Off of White Settlement Road.
Oh yes.
Okay. So that area right there is very bougie. We went up there to Jamel.
Yeah. Okay.
And Jamel's a restaurant that Tim Love put together. It's an kind of Italian Amalfi Coast type setting.
I've been wanting to go there. I have yet to go there.
It's outstanding.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go.
Outstanding. Really cool
right.
little vibe place.
Yes.
But that neighborhood over there, it's like a lot of high end homes over there, but there's also some $300,000 to $400,000 homes that are on pier and beam. And so you get in these great neighborhoods, you're just going to go up in value. And as you make those things nicer,
yeah, absolutely.
it's a great way to spend $300,000 to $400,000.
I would have to agree with you because anything can be fixed and addressed, right? Yeah. Typically. I mean, if there's a wall that can come down, you can bring that wall down. I look at houses. My best, I think the reason that I love real estate and I love being a realtor so much is because I love walking into a house, no matter what the state of the house is, and I can see a vision every time I walk into it.
Mm-hmm.
I can see what I would do with it. Now, I don't give that to my clients. I keep that to myself, but
sure.
unless they ask for it, unless they ask for my opinion, then I'll give it to them.
Right.
But I don't just freely give that out. However, because it goes back off of what you said the last time you were on my show too. You don't want to. It's them buying the home. They have to see it. They have to
Yep.
visualize it. It
Yep.
has to be their feeling, their emotion into it, not
Mhm.
yours. Right. So I 100% agree with you on that. So
Sure.
yeah, mouth shut.
Yeah, I just like if you give them the questions, they'll come to that answer.
They will. Yeah, they'll figure it out.
Indefinitely.
Yeah.
I've never had somebody where I looked at them and said, "Well, would you move that bathroom?" And they said, "Can you do that?" Well, they're going to ask that question,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
they've never had a pier and beam house.
Right.
You can move it over there if you want to.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you like the master, but it doesn't have a closet? Add one.
Yeah.
But you don't say add one. You say, well, do you think you could add one?
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly you're like, well, maybe I could. Would that be enough room? And so they're doing the calculations in their head.
Right.
So that 300,000 to 400,000 range, it also includes, like, if you were going to do newer houses, where would you go?
Newer houses. Oh man,
It's tougher, right?
It is. Well, because like I like the craftsman houses. I like the Victorian looking houses. Like I'm very like old school
Mhm.
structure wise. And I like I like pier and beam, and I want to go back to that really quick because I like my dad. He's in California. He's in Sacramento, and he's like one of the head building inspectors for
Sure.
commercial and all that stuff. Well, he taught me something recently that I was like, "What? I had no idea." Do you know that concrete is actually bad for our environment? Concrete. And we're continuing to put so much concrete up.
I have no. I don't know.
You're like, I don't want to believe it.
No,
I know.
it's just not true. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, I mean,
What is his process on?
I will
on
get the
that?
fact. I will get more of the facts from him because
Okay.
we really didn't get into too much depth into it.
That's a full show right
We were
there.
on, yeah, that's a full show. I'll have
Okay.
him on. Honestly, he listens to all my shows, and I'd love to have him
Yeah.
on. So
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
curious to know what their pattern behind that is, unless they're
Yes.
putting some sort of chemical in there that is
We don't know
somehow-
about. Yeah. That might be where it's at. But again, I'll have my dad on here. We're gonna have my dad on my next show. Let's see.
I'll say this.
Okay.
So there is, if you go to New York on a hot day,
Yeah.
and stand in the middle of the street, it's going to be hotter there than it would be in the same temperature out in the field, because it's all reflective and
Mhm.
and in senses like that, as far as our environment is concerned, yeah, it's going to make it hotter, and
Right.
it's going to make it a lot more uncomfortable. So in that sense, maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know.
I am too. So I'll definitely get more insight. I probably shouldn't have said anything until I had all the facts. So I apologize.
No, it's called a teaser. That way
It
you
is
can
a
have another
teaser.
show. There you
Yes,
go.
I know. So next time you're gonna have to listen to the next show. Okay, guys.
All right. So
Okay. Oh,
going back to your pyramid.
yes. And I like that you can move things around and that you can, have. I mean, and I don't know. I love the feel of something that's been there a while.
There's actually, I will say this. So I have a lot of clients that are older,
Mhm.
and when you walk on concrete, if you have knee problems or hip problems or things like that,
Yes.
it can be really, really tough on them. That's why you'll see a lot of those people that deal with that, they're going to want carpet or padding or something like that to help with it,
Absolutely.
because it does have it. So pier and beam, because it's actually sitting on wood, it has a softer placement on it, and it doesn't have as stark of a difference on your joints. So there is some evidence that having pier and beam can be helpful to those that have trouble with their joints,
Yes.
so that it's not so stark on their bodies. Matt
Huh.
Reisinger is a builder out in Austin, and he actually, I think he owns build.com. Really cool builder.
Yeah.
And he does all these things and I got hooked up with him from another builder that I was representing. And I've watched a lot of his stuff. And one of the things that he's been doing is a modified pier and beam. And essentially it's a foundation that's set on piers,
Yeah.
and then he runs beams across. So it allows you to have crawl space underneath your home for
Right.
access, and you have the pier and beam feel. So as you're walking, it's much more comfortable, and you don't deal with foundational issues where it's causing cracks and things like that, because it's on a pier and beam. So everything's as you step on it. That's the big thing about pier and beam. If you live in a house, the more you walk around in it, the healthier it is for a pier and beam. So if you're walking around in your house, it'll maintain its foundation forever just by walking around and living in it. So that's the really cool thing about pier and beam, is something that they're doing. You ought to look that up. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that, because those are one of the homes that I typically want to go for. Although I do like the. Okay, let me ask you this: what do you think of the barndominiums? Because I do love a lot of these newer barndominiums that are coming out. The design of them, the structure that they're putting out. I mean, it just looks so beautiful, in my opinion. Like I
think it's
love it.
pretty. I'm concerned about it.
Okay,
to
let
be
me hear
honest
that.
with you.
Yeah, because
and this is a little bit different in its entirety. Okay, here's my issue with it. Okay, you're taking a structure that is going to be fine. So the foundational structure, in other words, the steel framing of that, is great.
yeah, I agree. Especially
Okay.
tornadoes, right?
Well,
Storms, bad storms.
storms and tornadoes. If you're doing a barndominium,
Yeah.
you couldn't have a worse. It's a huff and puff situation. Okay, you're putting a metal sheathing on the outside of that house, and that's
Okay.
really all that's protecting you in a storm. And so, tornado wise, not a great substance.
Right.
Now we do see people that are bricking some of them and putting some of those items in place, but overall, structurally, believe it or not, and you can go with the Simpson brackets when we're doing construction. Again, Matt Rising is a good example of this.
Yes.
In California, they require certain brackets. Simpson, it's called a Simpson bracket, and it's essentially, it ties the house together.
Right.
So if you have large amounts of wind, it actually allows the house to move, but not completely break up. When you have a barndominium, it's literally strung together either by bolting together or pieces of metal, but everywhere else it's not going to stretch and move and have that kind of movement. So I would be concerned about the storm factor of that. I would also be concerned about the weathering over time.
Yeah.
Because if we look at old metal buildings, they rust and rot.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas wood, we're putting new roofs and things like that on there. So there's this constant looking for that type of activity. There's a lot of spray foaming going on with those. I'll tell you the story that I have on that. I had a buyer who bought a home. It was a multi-million-dollar home, and the inspection was good. Everything was fine. But behind the foam, they couldn't tell because there wasn't any moisture that they could see. When they went to remodel, they pulled back that foam. Well, water had gotten between the foam and the brick.
Oh.
So it actually had just completely destroyed the wall. And it was about a $60,000 fix to fix that wall that had completely rotted away. When they pulled that foam back, it had completely rotted all the wood. Everything that was behind there, they had to replace the stone. Everything was gone.
Wow.
And the same thing can happen with metal.
Right.
Because it rusts.
Yeah.
Okay. So that would be my concern when we start looking at metal and barndominiums and in long-term resale, right?
Yes. Okay.
Traditional homes sell well over time. We have no data to show what's going to happen to that barndominium 30 to 40 years from now.
You're right.
So that would be my concern with those.
Okay. I see that. Huh. And the spray foam, so is there something that was just missed to put in between that? Or
it was a leak in the roof.
Okay.
That had, when it leaked between the foam and the wall. Okay.
Right.
So it's not coming down through and into where you can see it. You can't visually
you don't know what's happening unless you have a roofer. Would a roofer
even with a roofer?
Able,
no,
he wouldn't have been able to point that out.
You could not see it unless you ripped out the foam.
Okay.
No one ever rips out the foam.
Right.
So it's very, very important when you spray that foam.
Yes.
That you have. There's vapor barriers that are involved. There's all types of. A great builder. His name's Mike Reese. He's a family member of mine. And he builds with Eureka Fine Homes out in Weatherford.
Okay.
He said this to me like this. Moisture is exact. In other words, moisture is everywhere. It's inside your home. It's outside your home. It's through your home.
Right.
Everything about maintaining your home, as far as it rotting away or keeping itself, is about moisture management.
Right. Absolutely.
So when you put a certain type of roof on, how does that manage? When you see them building a house and they put that zip form board, it's kind of green looking. If you ever drive by and you see a new house and they have this zip form board, that's for moisture management. And
Okay.
some of it can be really good. But if it's not done properly,
Right.
and a lot of these barn dominiums, they're self-built. They're GC'd by whoever the owner is, and they're putting stuff together and they're hoping. It's a prayer and a hope.
Oh, wow. Okay. Man, I
So
love barndominiums too. That's what kind of one of my processes was
it's
buy
great.
land
No,
and have a
listen, if
barndominium
they're
built.
done right,
If they're done
I
right,
truly
yes.
believe if
Yeah.
they're done right, they're perfectly fine.
So finding the right builder is going to be key, of course.
Absolutely.
I think
But
that's
if
with
you're
any
building your
house.
own, but what if you're buying someone else's barn dominium?
Yeah. You'd have to have like a
What are you going to do? I just told you I had an inspector go through that thing that saw no moisture because there wasn't any.
right.
By the time they'd gotten there, it was too late.
Mm-hmm.
The moisture was gone. They'd
Gotcha.
fixed the roof
Yes.
because the roof had damage.
Yeah.
But they didn't know that it worked its way back into that area.
Mm-hmm. So, in the right inspector, I think that hopefully we got inspectors that are
Inspector would never find it.
never.
It has to be built right in the first place.
Well, yeah, that's true. You're right. You're right. You're right. I know you said that too. I'm just like, I'm trying to think of, I guess finding out, my question was going to be, finding out the inspector and finding out if they know about barn dominiums, finding out if they know about the structure of it and what to look for, what signs to look for. I think
Yes.
that would be key.
Yeah. So
For
moisture
sure.
management.
Even though they might not have been able to find that, but yeah, moisture management. I think that's huge for any house though.
It is.
It is.
If you're going to buy, and this is huge too. This is where being a real estate agent, you see a lot of home builders.
Mm.
And I'm going to say this: I don't think there's any bad home builders out there. I
Right.
think there's home builders that are building for your price point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you need to know if you're buying a house that's under $300,000, you're buying the value.
Yep.
They're going to have to make money.
Mhm.
So if it's under $300,000, they're cutting some corners somewhere. Not
Yeah.
necessarily bad. It's still going to be a good house,
Right.
but where are they cutting the corners?
Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you think? Sorry, we're all on this, so I wanted to ask too. What do you think of the tiny houses?
I think there's a place for them.
Yeah.
I think there's a place for them. I think it's at end of life or beginning, right?
Right.
So if you're just starting out and that's all you can afford and you're comfortable in it, that's great. Moment you have a child, you're done.
Yeah.
Once you don't have any more children and you could care less about what you do, and if you're super active, I think tiny houses can be a really good source.
Right.
What is a tiny house other than a freaking apartment with no walls, besides no shared walls? That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
an apartment.
Basically, I agree. So one of my friends, like her kids are out of the house, and she bought herself a tiny house. Her and her boyfriend.
If you
And-
like space and
yeah.
that's your deal. Now, if I was going to spend $300,000 or $400,000, I'd go buy a condo in downtown. That'd be
Right.
me.
Yeah.
But that's because I don't want to have to deal with a yard. I'm old now, right? I don't.
You're
I don't
not
have to
old
do-
if you're old.
No, I'm just saying,
I'm
like in
old.
general, if I'm doing that, it's because
Right.
I'm old and I
Yeah,
want
you
to
don't
have
want
access to all the stuff that I want to do.
Yeah. I think tiny houses are good for like if you're traveling a lot too.
Sure.
If you travel a lot, why not just have a
I
tiny
know
house?
a lot of truckers, people that do that type of work where they're always on the road, that they have those tiny houses because they don't need much, but when they're stopped, they want to just have their own spot, their
Right.
own space.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very common.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah. I think there's there's a sucker born every minute, and I'm not saying, I'm not saying it in that sense, but I'm saying like in general, every house has a person that's perfect for it.
Absolutely. I agree with
And
that.
so when I'm working with a buyer, we really want to suss that out early.
Yes.
What's ideal for you.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily neighborhood or part of the house, but what are you going to be using it for?
Right. Yeah.
And what does your future look like? How many kids are you wanting to have?
Exactly. Yes.
know?
Yes.
Because if you're planning on having 6 kids, you don't need to be buying no condo.
No.
Okay. You're going to hate your life and everyone's going to hate you along with them. But if you're planning on having maybe 1 kid, then
Yeah.
maybe condo might be a good idea for you.
Yeah.
Especially if you're financially strapped or whatever.
That's very true. I mean, my dad, he was a single dad, and we were living with him in California in my high school days. And this after we moved back from Germany, and he had a condo, and it was great. It was just me and my sister. So, and my dad, and we had a condo.
What do you think is the most important question to ask your buyer when you get ready to start looking for a house?
I think it's what are your absolute must-haves in your house, and what are your wants? Because there's a difference, right? Because it's, I think when you build that, then it's a little bit more understanding when you're looking at a different whatever price point you're looking at, right?
Do you ever have that buyer that has the must-haves and you know you do?
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I gotta have this, and I want it for $300,000. Have you ever had that? I'm going to go show you what all these things have and how much it costs.
Yes.
So I've done that. I usually tell the agent first, hey, look, we're not a buyer. I'm telling you, I'm watching this house so they can see, is it okay?
Yeah.
Because I don't want them thinking,
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, it's like you got to know how much you can afford first.
You do. Yes.
So my question is always, how much can you afford per month? Because most people don't realize they don't add $400,000 does not mean $1,800 a month.
Right.
They just don't.
They don't.
So my number one question I always ask is, how much can you afford a month for your house payment?
That's that is very key. I feel like that comes next in my book, but it probably should come first. You're right.
Well, we all do it different, right?
We do. All right. Hey, thanks guys for tuning in with us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio.
Here's important new information.